Okay, stream should be live. Still looking at the Discord though.
I've got you live on Twitch. I'm going to be able to see chat.
I've also got chat open, but like I'm very bad at paying attention to chat.
Same.
Hey, Rolami.
Caps lock moment.
What are you trying to type? Audio seems fine, Danny? Yeah. I mean, hopefully. Are you able to hear me?
Are we starting with area or sum?
We'll be starting with area.
That's exciting.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone joining. I'm gonna double check submissions again. There has been one more submission. Have cheat engine ready? Yeah, I should have that on. Or I should be getting to turning that on. Let me load in the solutions. There's been one last minute submission.
Literally last minute, wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
me? Yeah, sorry. I don't know, I was expecting...
Oh, hey, Mr. Puzzle.
I'm on time. Wizard.
We need the last minute
quote.
submission.
Hmm?
Were you the last minute submission?
Oh, no. I submitted a showcase yesterday, and the previous submission was like 5 days before that or something.
Yeah, I haven't touched this puzzle in 5 days.
I finished 45 minutes ago.
Ooh. Was that your sum? I know you were putting off sum because you had worked on area.
Yeah, it was
Yep, there was
Alright, things should be... Oh yeah, I have to turn on cheat engine. Let me just launch the cheat engine and set it to Opus Magnum, but don't actually turn on speed hack yet. We'll be using that later. But yeah, we should be good to go. So hi everyone, welcome to week 2 of the Opus Magnum tournament. And this week our puzzle is Soothing Solve. It's a puzzle where you have to turn alcohol into this hexagon-shaped reagent, sort of hexagon-shaped, yeah. And it's one concept with the puzzle is that the vitae in the hexagon is actually worth 2 salt because there's an extra morsel you have to dispose of. So essentially, this puzzle is 2 parts of alcohol stacked together. I mean, that's not actually how you solve a puzzle, but like that's an easy way to calculate the ratio. And with area, the metrics were area and sum, each with their own tricks or intended choices to them, and we'll see how that goes. So yeah, we'll be starting off with area. Unfortunately, there is no Steven solve this week. But yeah, I'll be loading in our first area solve. First off, in 42nd place, we have a lot of solves to go through again, is
nice.
From Above. This is kind of looking like a sum solve, except for the fact that there's a lot of pistons inside and in it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see. Oh, and there's also a swing that goes over 2 extra tiles there.
Yeah. Oh, I hear a bit of echo. Okay, not a bit. Vicky, I think my voice is coming through on your side. Oh, not anymore. Okay.
Yeah, I've pushed to talk. Sorry though. I'll try not to have it on when you're talking.
Oh, alright. Yeah, apart from the fact that there are 3 pistons, it kinda looks like a subsolve, mostly because of the hex arm.
It looks like it was inspired by a Sunsoul.
Oh yeah, Zorflax, you're kinda quiet.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying it looks like it was inspired by a Sunsoul.
Yeah. I guess it was just solving with the, like, while optimizing for area. Well, not directly optimizing for area, but just making a first solve and then, like, trying to reduce them at as much area as possible. I think Zorflax was just far away from his mic.
Yeah, I have a weird mic situation. It's not the volume. It was far away from me for a brief moment. Don't worry.
I can turn you up a bit though.
It's cool to see that this one places its first fire off onto the duplication glyph.
Oh yeah, so it works as a catalyst, huh?
Yeah, it creates a catalyst once per output, and then it gets rid of it and puts it onto the output again.
But yeah, that should be this solve. Next up, we have in 41st place, B. Smith with 33 area. Okay, this is starting to look like an area solve. It's got the basic concepts of area there, where you have 2 pistons because Animismus needs at least arms from 2 positions to access all points.
It has 2 equilibrium glyphs, with the one that is placed and then the Critelli, which I would call an equilibrium tile.
Yeah.
And it's using duplication and calcification because it's following the 2 inputs to 1 output approach.
Yeah, so sometimes when you, sometimes the minimum amount of glyphs isn't that obvious. For example, you don't exactly need duplication and calcification in this puzzle.
Yeah, there's fire once per input, so if you use 3 inputs, you could maybe get rid of calcification, duplication, just throw stuff away if it doesn't match.
But yeah, that will be in future solves, but for the solves for now, yeah, this is pretty decent. It's only got 2 extra equilibrium hexes. It's an area solve, alright?
I'm curious to see how many 2 piston solutions we're going to see today, because I remember last time we did AI, it was in the weeklies, and
yeah.
a 2 piston solution nearly won.
Yep. Next up, then, we have in 40th place with 32 area, Praxis. I assume this is just with 1 less. Oh no, that's a lot of equilibrium. But yeah, this is what we're talking about.
Okay, now we got someone throwing stuff away.
Yeah, so you get to throw away all the water and 1 salt with 3 inputs.
Yeah, this is a 3-to-1 ratio, and it does work. It does solve the puzzle. I don't think it's the best option. Chat is also talking about, like, wait, this isn't the best option, but it is better than placing disposal and those 2 glyphs.
Yeah. This is minimum glyphs with disposal.
And here we see Morikonda's Disillusionment. That's someone who I was very much expecting has placed the disposal in their solution, didn't think otherwise.
Yeah. So, about that disposal glyph.
Yeah, the question of which glyphs do you want to place to solve this puzzle was like the main decider for area. If you place too many or the wrong kinds, then you will not actually get the solution that's optimal. And then this question of, for each possible way you could choose to solve the puzzle, how does the instruction secondary impact you? So we will get to some pretty cursed areas in this.
So, area without disposal was intentional, by the way. No spoilers? Well, most people did find that out.
Yeah, we're at 40th. I'm sure that by the time we get to maybe 30th, there's going to be the endeavors into the disposal-free solution. So let's get where we get first.
Disposal is a cute place to store an output product. Yeah, just overlap disposal with output. Easy.
I don't think BritBoy meant like overlapping, just like if you're partially built the product, you can stick it over the disposal and still have access to everything else.
I mean, you can also stick it over, you know, the product.
Yeah, of course, but I mean, what if there's stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what if I'm assembling 2 products at once?
I guess you can do that. Yeah, next up, we have at 39th place at 32 area, also 32 area, but 178 instructions, Kupiwala. Also,
Hey, we made it.
you may notice how, the duplication and calcification is back. Also, you might notice how on the stream there's an indicator saying if this is 1T, 6T. Yeah, that comes into play.
Yeah, the number of so T for people who aren't like familiar with all the jargon in the Discord. T is the number of times your instruction tape has to execute, or the number of products that you make during one execution of your instruction. So a 1T solution is the basic kind of, okay, I've built a product, and then my arm is going back to its first instruction. 2T is, I've built 2 products, and then my arm hits its first instruction again. 6T is, my arm will never see its first instruction again by the time the solution is over.
Basically, T is essentially the amount of products per tape loop.
It's interesting to see Koopy has a 32 area that uses all of the glyphs, including like they're enabling the 2 output or the 2 input per output approach in 32 area when the only other person we've seen to do this took far more. So this is efficiently squeezed together, rather.
I mean, you can go one lower with just with 2 tracks instead of 3.
Correct.
So we'll probably be seeing that. This is a good solve though. I like the suppression, and also the debonding sequence where it attaches to the input. It's really slick. Yeah, that's this solve. We're probably not going to be watching all the solves till they finish, until we get to later because some of those are important that they finish. Next up then, we have in 38th place, at 31 area, Small Crep. So it's gonna exceed the area at some point.
Yeah, it starts out with a 28 area layout, so there's 3 extra tiles, but you also can't get to that output position from the bonder without going over a few extra tiles.
I feel like maybe this was an approach where they kind of just put down a minimum amount of glyphs and then tried to solve.
Yeah, those are your 3 extra tiles.
Which is an approach. Probably speed this up.
One thing to note here is that putting the unbonder next to the input and the bonder next to the output is about as good as you can get a layout here, because you don't want to accidentally unbond on your way to the output, and you don't want to have sticky bonder catching things while you're doing it near your input. And I think that makes this a little bit cleaner than Koopy's solve, where Koopy's had the bonder and the unbonder both right next to each other, and so that's why they had stuff bonding together.
Except sometimes you want the bonder in a position where, since this is a hexagon output, it's kind of having the bonder directly next to the output means there's going to be, like, for example here, there's these 2 hexes of extra space that you probably need to fill in with something else, and a unbonder would probably go pretty nicely over there in these 2 hexes.
Yeah, because then you don't have to actually worry about breaking bonds. There's no bonds between the spokes.
Yeah, that should be the solve. Next up, we have in 37th place at 29 area, Chickens in the Attic.
Oh, drop of 2 area already.
Oh yeah. Okay, so
No disposal, but we got a bonder. A second bonder for waste. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Probably speed this up. I'm assuming this is conditional. It's 1T. Yeah, it's 1T.
Yeah, it's 1T, so I mean, the fact that you're pushing out a waste stick is a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there we go. Pushing out that waste stick.
Our first conditionals.
Yeah, it's got a slight bit of conditionals to. Well, first of all, you need to push out the Moors.
Also, a half-access duplication glyph.
Oh.
And a lot of use of input suppression.
Mm-hmm. The thing with duplication and calcification glyphs is that they're pretty conveniently like able to not be half or even zero axis. So yeah, it's gonna push the Moors out. You know what? I'm just gonna launch Cheat Engine and probably do double speed.
So this is basically an all glyphs 31 solve, but then they replace disposal with 5 tiles needed for Moors because you're going to store 5 Moors from the previous 5 outputs. And I think he ends his solution with 1 Moors still over the input, so that Moors processing happens after the output is already made.
Yeah. And I assume it disposes Moors after the output is outputted, so it just sits there, so you don't have to push it one extra time.
Right. So you only have 5 area taken up with Moors without needing to do any juggling. Problem is, you can also do it with juggling, which is harder.
Yeah. Though this is also more area than not using the duplication and calcification glyphs and using disposal. But yeah. Next up then, we have in 36th place with 28 area, Catspin. So yeah, this is the no calcification, no duplication, and only using disposal. It's 1 less area than the previous solve.
Yep, I had an initial 28 that I made called Naive Min.
Mm-hmm.
This seems like a very clean version of it. It's already fewer instructions than mine was, so very good job, Catspin.
Yeah, I think this might be... no, there's faster ones. Well, not necessarily faster, but with less instructions. Oh yeah, now we approach the minimum amount of space that is, like, the minimum space possible with disposal. Oh yeah, sadly Hutobi didn't participate this week. Yeah, there will be a minor pileup at 28 area.
It's interesting, though, that 200 instructions is the highest instruction count of all the 28s, because my guess, based on the 219 that my initial 28 had, was that instructions would be higher than that from at least some people. I'm glad I found better area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Next up then, we have in 35th place at also 28 area and 189 instructions. Not great. So, Not Great had mentioned me at the beginning of the week that they know no disposal is possible, but they just kind of didn't want to bother. They knew 24 area was possible. Well, not necessarily 24 area, but like just juggling all the Moors.
Yeah, even once you take away the disposal, trying to convince yourself you can take it away and add only the glyphs is a bit of a stretch.
Mm-hmm. Some people are saying it's easier than they expected.
Really?
It's going to have a mixed bag. I have no idea how people actually, the end result on this stream is going to be a list of people who all found a solution, and we'll see how those actually work.
Uh-huh.
Get stronger, game. Do it.
I'm curious about Not Great's solution title, because first off, That's somebody who had talked in Discord chat about
Oh
using a
yeah,
bot to create
so
solution
they
layouts.
mentioned auto helper as they mentioned to me, since I also saw the solution name, they said they had a return command, what is basically a return command where they move piston grabber from this coordinate to this coordinate as a function in FA edit.
Gotcha. So it's not trying to create layouts, just trying to simplify the process of programming it.
Yeah, which they do a lot of. But yeah, so next up then, we have in 34th place at 28 area and 174 instructions, Fiesta 0618. Oh, double piston.
Interesting that this is fewer instructions, but I guess who was it? Was it
So
during the weekends there was someone who got 2 pistons and 1 in AI?
yeah, the thing with even though 2 pistons is usually done for area cycles, the thing about having 2 pistons is that you get to reduce the amount of regrabs.
Yeah, it was Spec 98. He didn't quite win, but he found out after the stream that he could have.
Ah, okay. That sounds familiar.
Instructions is a lie. Somebody made the 6T solve. But yeah. Next up, we have in 33rd place at 28 area and 154 instructions, we have our first actual conditionals at 1/3 T. Cavalier.
Wait, one
1/3 T. Okay.
spicy.
That's an impressive achievement.
So throwing away water. Yep, throwing away water, throwing away one of the salts.
Yeah.
Shadow Cluster mentions Vitae fire from the first input, fire and salt from the second input, fire salt for the third input.
Shadow Closer sent me a document. I should probably be reading that.
Oh, it's a document. All right, he just posted it in Twitch chat as well.
Yeah, I mostly haven't been looking at the document because it's kind of been okay so far. Not anything too difficult. But yeah, conditionals are hard. Props to everybody who actually made conditional solves.
So one thing that's worth doing is creating multiple copies of the puzzle where they're out of phase with each other.
Oh yeah.
And you can watch one copy being on one part of the tape, one copy being on another part of the tape, and see that, just make sure that the grabs that you're doing are on a ghost atom in at least one of them and not a completely fake grab that never exists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fake grabs that never exist is mostly for optimize instructions, but you also have to make sure that you're not grabbing something that exists in more than one phase.
Or you also don't want to move. You don't want to accidentally move materials through each other.
Yeah, that too.
Ghost atoms take up space, so doing instructions with area is also rather challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So having the physical atoms there.
There are some approaches that we can discuss when we get to later solves. Yeah, that's mostly this solve. Probably don't need to finish watching it. Next up then, we have at 28 area and 126 instructions in 32nd place at quarter T, Communist Mountain.
Wow.
Oh, you grab a fire and assault from 4 inputs.
Yeah. Quarter T seems to be more common, and most of them use animismus suppression.
I'm thinking about Morikanda saying that he was wondering if people were getting down into double-digit instruction, but also hinting with redacteds that he didn't do fractional T. So do we have a 1T coming up that's under this? Incredible.
No.
Or am I just misreading how this all works?
No, there's no 1T coming up. Oh, by the way, the T indicator on the stream is actually automatic.
Oh, something Panic's tool can create? It can read, like,
So, Panic's... I asked Panic for a length of the instruction tape as something that the tool reports. So I use that to calculate T. It's not the most accurate. Sometimes when it's 1T, it's 6/7.
Oh yeah, because it's. I'm guessing you're taking the cycles and then dividing by
Yeah,
the tape.
yeah, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, this is QWERTY. It mainly operates on the fact that sometimes animismus doesn't work. Especially, it operates on the fact that animismus doesn't work when when there's stuff on the animismus glyph.
so it'll create the pair of salt for animismus every time, but only let it proc when it's reasonable for that to be the case?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Alright.
Shadow Cluster is also counting the number of effective grabs each period.
Yeah.
And that's a cool way of discussing conditionals. I'd never really considered that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's pretty important later on. But yeah, next up... Oh, this is fun. Next up, we have, in 31st place, at 28 area, 126 instructions, but 90 gold, Morikanda.
So that's the surprise. The cost tertiary meant that the single piston on a track won against the piston on two pistons.
Wow.
Oh, poor day for Communist Mountain.
I was not expecting tertiaries to actually matter on this metric, to be honest.
That's... Oh, that's cool.
So it's basically doing the same thing with the conditionals of not proccing animismus when there's an output over the glyph, when there's partial output over the glyph. Except now it's doing it with one piston at, coincidentally, the same amount of instructions. But yeah, we probably don't need to finish watching this. I have to alt-click it several times for half T. At quarter T, even.
The positioning of all of these glyphs is exactly the same as a layout I'm very familiar with.
Oh boy. But yeah, next up we have in 28th place, no, not 28th place, 30th place with 28 area, at 106 instructions, Buttermilk Donut.
Ooh.
By the way, the lowest instructions goes for 28 area is 97.
That's sub 100.
Yep,
Oh,
Hell yeah.
double digits.
yep. It's also quarter T, Spiral Omni. So we're not...
Oh, but what was submitted?
Yeah, it was submitted, but like, there was better that's
Gotcha.
since... I guess we can look at it. Yeah, it is your sovereign Omni. Yeah, I agree with you, Casvin. What are these... That's what I felt when Shadow Cluster sent me the document with all these magic grab numbers.
So it counts how many grabs in the tape belong to the first period, how many new ones only work in the second period, etc.
Has Shadow Cluster sent the document in there? No, I probably could send the document into the Discord for anybody that wants to actually see Shadow Cluster.
I
What Shadow
assume that
Cluster
at
has
the
to
end
say?
of this area stream, we'll see Shadow Cluster's non-scoring solve that is far better than anything else that was submitted. So it would be cool to see what Shadow Cluster thinks of all of us plebeians.
Yeah, so I
What do
posted
you
the
know
document
by
in the
now? Whatever
Discord.
you
If you
want?
don't mind about spoilers, you can check that out.
I'll stay unspoiled so that my commentary can be genuine.
But yeah, I guess we can check out the 97 instruction solve by Rolomni. So this is not Rolomni's scoring solve, but it's worth checking out. 97 instructions.
Very similar behavior of the second piston. It's just there for reaching vitae and pivoting the product.
I will say the conditionals kind of almost seems more fun without the waste handling.
Look at that.
Disposal and fractional T seems like it would have been fun to work on. I don't know whether no disposal and fractional T exists, but even no disposal in 1T is a headache.
Yeah. So, if I wanted that to happen, though, I would have just provided a Morse output. Well, when there's a Morse output, yeah, because the amount of water and salt that's generated is too much anyways.
Yeah, I feel like you can't get rid of disposal and get rid of calcification or duplication because you would end up needing more than 2 inputs per output, which piles up so many more atoms.
Yeah. Yeah,
You'd need to split the output into 2 outputs or something.
But yeah, next up then, we have all the coming solves have no disposal. And we'll be starting with Aldrich K at 27th place and 29th place. God, the placements are so similar to area. At 27 area and 1,079 instructions.
From 2 digits to 4 digits.
60 solves. That's a lot of track. I guess you're gonna have to use the space anyways, with piling up the Moors.
Yeah, exactly. I'd imagine if you're going to have that much space by the time you use your last product, you might as well let the arms use it before it's too crowded.
Yeah, this was a last minute solve, so Shadow Cluster has no commentary in the document on this.
But yeah, there's a big question of how do you make sure that there's still room to build this large 7-atom product that needs to move twice at least from its bonder to its output when you have a pileup of all this Moore's waste.
This solve deals with it by giving a lot of extra track. So you got lots of access points.
Yeah, all of its Moores are also individual atoms, so it can shuffle them kind of piecemeal.
Individual atoms makes it easy, not just for making 60 solves, but it also makes it easy for 1T solves. Because you can kind of just stack, basically make them Moore stack. Each time you just push the Moores to their next position. Yeah, next up we have at in 28th place with 26 area and 1,052 instructions, 42 Genius 42. More or less areas 26. So this is also 2 hex tracks is extra than needed. 2 extra track hexes, not hex tracks. 2 extra track hexes than needed.
It's cool that the Moors that comes out of the animismus is in a place that's really out of the way, and so you don't need to handle it at all until it's done.
Yeah. Most of these 60 solves are the most interesting when we get to like the final output. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So the most interesting
That'll
ones
be
are
the
the
case
one.
for all. That'll kind of be the case for most of the non-disposal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, pretty much all the non-disposal solutions, because that's when it gets the spiciest.
Mm-hmm.
And not to waste any instructions, nobody bothers to clean up after the end of the puzzle.
Yeah,
They
that's
just let the drop instruction at the end it, and everything else after is nonsense.
no more return instruction, just drop, and everything just goes to chaos. There's the gift, F10 in the gift generator anyways, so yeah. Next up we have a non-scoring solve by RPO with 26 area and 415 instructions at 1D.
I wonder if this is a bonded waste chain, Moors.
Looks like it, there's two
There's two bonders, so
there's
I
two
agree, yeah.
bonders, yep. It's actually still doing quite a bit of conditionals though.
Yeah, I think it's handling a single Moors that isn't in the waste chain.
Yeah, lots of empty grabs.
Shadow
That's a
Cluster
very
says it
Pairwise?
is pairwise handling. So it bonds two Moors together and then sticks the two Moors on the waste chain. I guess it didn't have room for 5 Moors in its layout, but it did have room for 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's keeping 2 around, and then once it no longer has room for them, they go on the waste stick.
This is 26 area, it's not gonna become a waste stick.
Oh, you're right. The bonder takes 2 area.
So it's just using an extra bonder for some reason. I guess
Maybe
it's
for the storage eventually.
yeah, maybe for convenience, maybe for storage, maybe because it needs to be storage, they just put an extra bonder there anyways.
Shadow Cluster
Might
says
be
that
the
there are
helpful
bond
conditional.
unbond conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that. Yeah. That makes sense. And it's probably more convenient to just put it on the side than right next to the input.
Yeah, nice. That's very interesting conditionals. I can't say I ever considered that.
Pairwise conditionals.
And then there were 5.
Pairwise conditionals tend to happen quite a bit later on as well. It's a convenient way of like conditionalizing your waste.
It also means you can get fewer access points and still touch a lot of waste.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't bond things together, eventually you need to be able to access every single point of your atoms, and that becomes a big hassle with some layouts.
Yeah, it's possible. It's just, it also wastes a lot of regraphs.
Yeah, because if you got stuff bonded together, you can move 2 atoms at once.
Mm-hmm. Alright, next up we have in 27th place at 25 area now. And back to 60 at 1,271 instructions, Darius 1. I'm sure the solution name is a mood for a lot of you. When it comes to this solve. So yeah, 1 extra hex for convenient bonding for the product. Okay.
Interesting. This looks like a difficulty in creating a layout and not even so much in the Morse handling.
As Katzman points out, also stands for area, etc.
Copy.
Area with secondaries areas and tertiaries areas and Or rotate
That's just
left.
how Shadow Cluster approaches the game, right?
What'd you say, Zorflax?
Oh, I was just saying, that's how Shadow Cluster approaches the game normally, right?
Oh yeah, just
Area.
area. Yeah. I see more are starting to be bonded together. And that should be the last output.
It's important to have input suppression by the time you get to the last output.
Yeah. Without input suppression, you don't really have that much space. And next up, we have in 26th place at 25 area at 1,152 instructions to layer. I assume the Critelia is extra hex used. Oh, it is not. Never mind. .25 area at 60 and extra areas used as storage. Arm spins in place a lot. Yeah. With the bonder and the unbonder right around the arm, there's definitely a lot of spinning needed.
Yeah, interesting how everything is so close to that piston, because it's like in the pretty much exact center of the layout.
Mm-hmm. Also, so far, everything is a single atom. All the Morse is single atom. Oh, never mind. There goes single atoms.
Yeah, that's to be able to get it out into the input suppression without having to take 2 atoms one at a time.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, next up then, we have another non-scoring solve by me at 25 area and 339 instructions, where I get
Wait,
to...
you bothered to go 1T with 25 area?
Yeah, I made a 1T solve at 25 area, mostly because I wanted to see how waste handling would be, but didn't want to bother trying to find layouts.
I see. Okay. So this was more of a playtest thing. I was
Yes,
thinking like nobody who
this
is
is...
scoring would spend the time to get 1T on a thing that wasn't at min primary yet.
Yeah. So, y'all might be curious why this is area instructions and not area cycles. This puzzle used to be area cycles before I playtested this and thought, you know what, this would be very annoying to optimize at 6T for cycles with waste handling because you're basically doing the same thing like almost 6 times. So why not make it more interesting with area instructions?
I'm gonna agree to disagree with you on that one.
I think it's encouraging people to do 1T, but that's an extreme challenge here. Might be less of a challenge than I gave it credit for. That's how I felt about 11 in week 1, but 1T waste handling here is a bit much.
Wait till you see the better. Wait till you see the less than 1T solutions.
That's something I'm surprised exists at all.
So that's confirmed. There are min area solutions less than 1T, are there?
Most people seem to think AC is better than AI, though.
Nice, Brother Mojo. If AC greater than AI, then that means AI is better, because we want numbers to be small. I will mention, so this is a comment that I put in the Opus Magnum Discord thread. but I redacted it because I figured it might have been spoilery.
Mhm.
But my thoughts on AI are, I think AI is more novel and interesting than AC. Um, the trick is that if you do not have like AI, it's really easy for AI to turn into AC and be boring in that way because either you have a puzzle where 1T is simple and like maybe half T just makes it more complicated or something, like a puzzle where it's not easy to break the process into smaller parts,
Yeah,
or like there's no waste handling,
it
or
needs the specific puzzle. It needs more specific puzzles for it.
Yeah, I mentioned because over the last couple of weeks, I can't remember when, but I went through our weekly's chat to find out when AI was first suggested, and as I meant, yeah, I think I said in Discord, but
I think
it
it
was
was Luna
jokingly suggested by Luna
as a
before
joke.
Steven was the one who actually was like, wait, what would that actually be like? And then all of us, me included, surprisingly, were all like, oh, that's a great idea, let's do it.
And then we did it for
And
superconductive copper. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and then to clarify, I actually like AI as a metric, but again, like Mr. Puzzle said, it's very puzzle specific.
Yeah.
I didn't necessarily like it for this puzzle, but that doesn't mean I didn't like it because I think one of the AI metrics last year was my puzzle. So yeah,
Yeah.
I
But
think it's a good metric.
So, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm gonna be moving on to the next puzzle, and we can watch it while we continue discussing AI. Since we
I
still got
imagine the next one is going to be our slowest 24.
since we got a lot to go through. Yeah, the next is our slowest 24 area. Well, not slowest, but most instructions.
Right.
At 24 area and 2,277 instructions in 25th place. Rip Boy at 60. Okay, you can just keep talking about AI now.
More than 24 24s. Very cool.
Welcome to top 25. You only had to get an area.
Max instructions. But yeah, AI
God
is
damn.
a pretty interesting metric, though some people might find it pretty tedious for this puzzle in particular. Min area does not guarantee top half. I know it's scary.
I'm scared to find out what 1T24 guarantees you. It might not be that good either.
Y'all are getting good at the game. Like, very good at the game.
Opus Magnum tournament, but everyone's drunk all the time.
Brookie's ELU was created and sold and playtested while mostly drunk. He's admitted to this much, so it's not even me trying to diss him.
I forgot about that. It's
Wait.
doable.
Wait, what?
He made
2.
ELU and then playtested it, and his solution was made, and he was drunk a lot of that time.
Wait, who?
Brookie, the creator for ELU and the computation puzzle last year.
Oh, right. Oh yeah, I remember him mentioning that. Being drunk while solving EOU, yeah.
Can anyone speak from first-hand experience what it's like to play Opus Magnum not sober? I'm curious.
Also, what is that? Why is this salt on the Moors?
This is the last Moors making the solution much more difficult. I mean, we have 500 more cycles and we have only one output left to build.
Oh yeah, because now that I'm looking at this puzzle or this layout,
I guess it doesn't have many access points.
it doesn't have a lot of access points, so it just doesn't have a lot of space to drop.
One of the things that I was talking about a little bit during week 5 last year, where my area solve was atrocious but min, was about the capacity of a solution to hold more atoms. And if you have a layout that doesn't have really good capacity, you have to get really creative to make something work.
Calm Before
I
the
think that's
Storm.
what that last output looked like for BritBoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Next up, we have at in
Shadow
20.
Cluster recommends Cheat Engine.
Yeah, Sheet Engine is on. It's at double speed. It's at so at 24 area and 656 instructions.
I'm floored. Okay.
In 24th place, we have Biggie.
24 people got 1T or better?
Yes.
What?
So
I'm impressed and surprised.
Shadow Cluster mentioned in the document, "Why do you do this to yourself, Biggie?"
I don't even think this was bad. It was hard, but it wasn't like, oh, now I'm going to have a terrible score. I thought, like, this is as far as I need to take it to feel confident that I'm doing well.
Yeah, people are good at the game.
I'm in danger.
Not even. We're still not in the top half of the pack.
I think we are on the top half, though. I think. No. Oh,
But not.
the start.
42
We started
people on this
with
list.
42.
So I don't think this is that bad, so I'm surprised it's 24th. But okay.
I'm surprised as well. I
Yeah.
did not expect 24 people to get min area and have one and do it in less than one with conditional waste.
Well,
Don't-
yeah,
don't
the
worry,
only
Biggie.
explanation I had for this is that there are, like, plenty of people who did it in under 1P.
Like, what I was thinking is that Pentapig in the weeklies got a 1T waste handling after the fact when the winner had a 3T. So I was thinking, yeah, that'll be something that is kind of rare. Maybe a dozen people get it. 24, 24 people with me at the slow end of it is surprising.
So, yeah, Shadow Cluster's comment on your solve is that you have plenty of conditionals that aren't handled by other conditionals.
Sorry?
Like, there are a lot of conditionals that aren't handled by previous conditionals, is what Shadow Cluster has to say about this solve.
So it has to do a
Oh,
lot
you
of
mean
things for the purpose of exactly one case.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that. I just didn't think it was a big hit compared to what I assumed would be several 6T24s.
This also makes the solution much more difficult to make, though.
I didn't find better. I didn't look extraordinarily hard for better, but I didn't find layouts that made me confident I could get a sixth product out. So
It kind of
I found
reminds...
what I got working, and then this worked, and then this was what I submitted.
It does kind of remind the conditionals that have no repeat conditionals in other cases part kind of does remind me of my week 4 instruction solve from last year. With that arm just flailing around.
What I'm scared of isn't the fact that there were so many people who, like, were able to find this or quicker. It's that there were so many people who bothered to find this or quicker.
Yeah, I mean, this took me like 8 hours at least across a couple days. And this is a
Yeah.
biggie, why do you do it to yourself moment, but still, I think I put the time in that would have been a clear win in some previous years, and not 24th in every year except this one, so well done, everyone.
Things are gonna get crazy. I'm looking forward to future years. Though, I guess to be fair, once you get through the fact that this is waste handling, finding the layout itself is not as difficult compared to some area puzzles. But yeah, so Zorflax, you said you were in danger, right?
Yeah. Am I next?
Next up, in 23rd place at 565 instructions, we have Zorflax.
Oof.
I didn't get top half.
Where does everyone else fit? How does it go
Biggie,
lower?
Biggie, I saw that spreadsheet. I am also surprised at how low this goes.
I didn't spoil myself, so if it goes like substantially lower, it's just going to be a continued amount of amazement for me.
It's going to be a wild ride for you, my friend. Have fun.
90 instruction drop. Well, we're still in the the top end of the. Oh, it's going a bit fast for me to actually see what's going on. Let me slow it down a bit.
There's a lot. Shadow Cluster wrote a lot of notes for this one. It's actually, I'm finding this informative. I'll just read it out if that's all right.
Mhm. Alright.
86 grabs. Region is only one access, so space is very limited. The product, fire, is used as the reliable suppressor instead of the Moors found in other solutions. Each Moors
yeah.
influence is the last one, meaning it is costly conditionals the entire way through. Otherwise, it juggles a lot due to lack of space. Bonds conditionally into pairs, with bonds debonds to get Moors to other tracks. Also bonds Moors to fire at the end due to lack of space. It's all fair.
Yeah, the document is very informative. If you want to improve on your conditionals, you can also check the document out and look at your own shadow clusters note on your own solve.
Yeah, I understand I probably missed a trick by not relying more heavily on input suppression, but I didn't think it would matter that much.
Also, team, I didn't think it would matter that much. What I am kind of glad is that the change from 660 to 656 that I did as a cursory bit of instruction optimization before I submitted it in. I'm glad I didn't try to do another couple hours of that, because it would have made me get to 610 or something and be in the exact same place as I was before.
Yeah, with your solution, it's probably better to find a new layout. It's probably it's probably less time to be spent finding a new layout as well, if you were to try to improve.
I have so little layout creativity that I thought I found enough layouts to think the one I had was good. So if that says something about me, sure. I don't get to be in the top of this tournament, and that's fine.
Yeah, well, to be fair, this is an area puzzle, and area is never your strong suit, I assume.
I thought I was getting better at it, okay?
Yeah, you did find mid-area. It is
I
mid-area.
I'm
I
getting
didn't get
better at it
mid-area.
slower than the universe, apparently.
I like to think I actually am kind of good at area, but it's clear to me now I probably got stuck at a local minimum and probably could have explored the layouts more before I tried programming at 1T.
I mean, I didn't
goddamn.
I didn't bother to try mid-area, so more than half the people are better than me. Also, apologies for the lack of large and complicated puzzles. At large, complicated, and fast puzzles. They're coming in later, in future weeks.
4, build Snowflake Mark II.
In a cabinet.
In a cabinet.
A cabinet that only barely fits the output.
But yeah, next up,
Jesus Christ.
we have
Special.
at 22nd place at 507 instructions, Madmaster.
22nd? Alright, I'm 23rd. Whoops.
So, the Morse conditional on this is very similar to my 25 area solve, except this does it in 24 area. It's all single atom Morse handling, and it pushes the Morse in a stack kind of way. $80 grabs, yeah, it's a lot of grabs. I don't think Shadow Cluster even counted the amount of grabs on my solve because I didn't submit it until yesterday. Shadow Cluster just said this is a horrible solve on my solve.
Shadow Cluster has a very blunt way of describing solutions.
I agree with that though. It's not like I tried very hard.
Yeah, and where are the other 20 people coming from? Shadow Cluster didn't make 19 holes. There are that many people who are this good at area now. I'm amazed and proud of this community while at the same time looking at these results and thinking, where do I fit in anymore?
Well, there's still the big and complicated cycles puzzles.
Please, hit us up with 7 more of those.
There's a few coming up. I don't know about coming up recently, but they're coming up. Yeah, lots of...
It's interesting that this one makes Vitae so late in its process. It's made the
Yeah.
3 little elbows, and Vitae comes in at the end.
With mine, I try to make mine first. Try to make my Vitae first, and
Same.
then use the Moors that comes in as suppression material.
No, Corliss, that won't be Biggie, that'll be me. Don't worry, I'm way worse at computation puzzles.
But if you submit for the computation puzzle, you'll have broken into that niche for the first time.
True.
You also get the 10 points. The actual free 10 points. If you finish the computation puzzle.
Tied for first with
Yeah,
every
well,
single other person.
We'll cross that bridge later. I'm trying not to think about it for now.
It's in, like, what, March? It's
Yeah.
still a while. Yeah, it just keeps on pushing the Moors around. In single atoms. Lots and lots of regraphs. Yeah, next up we have in 21st place at 484 instructions, Matter Monkey. Wait, what does it say? Time to permeate some waste. Yeah. Oh, 2 pistons.
Ooh, the 2 pistons. Nice.
Let's see what Shadow Cluster has to say about this solve. Waste is atomic again. Use of 2 R's, but they have poor communication, says Shadow Cluster.
Yeah, there's only one, like, hex where they can actually communicate, whereas
yeah.
I think most two-piston solutions have 2.
Mm-hmm. Or more.
You get more than 2.
I like how it's
right,
outputting,
like,
though.
Yeah, I feel like next week though. Sorry.
And we're in the top half. I like how it outputs. It builds the thing first and then it like just dupes and calcifies everything and then outputs. Which means the duplication and calcification can be 0 axis. Look, I guess calcification is not
cool,
0
actually.
axis, but I don't think it was ever used to calcify by ARM 1.
Yeah, the no-access duplicator calcify is really cute. I'm wondering how many more times we're going to see something like that, because it seems useful.
I wonder how many times we're going to be seeing that in another metric as well.
Ah, yeah, true. Access points in some is not a common thing to talk about, but in this puzzle it's reasonable.
But yeah, next up we have in 20th place at 475 instructions, Tweedledee. Knee deep in the dead. Okay, so we're back to 1 arm. And we're starting with a bit of Morse conditionally. Waste conditionally.
Shadow Cluster really used the word embiggening in the description of this puzzle. The number of grabs is embiggened by the fact that the product is in the middle.
It's not even embiggening, it's indiggening.
Oh no, wait, is it actually indiggening?
Yes, it's
Oh,
got
I'm
your
the direction of bad?
It's a perfectly cromulent word, Biggie.
Yeah, but it's also saying that the direction of bad is the direction of Biggie.
Oh, poor Biggie. Shadow Cluster is very blunt in a way, isn't he? Shadow Cluster is the IEE of Opus Magnum. Yeah, atomic waste, while costly, is very convenient for conditionaling. You don't have to think that much. I have to think about
Yeah,
it.
quite a lot of the difficulty in mine was trying to convert this bonded group into this other bonded group. Because I only could suppress the input with enough atoms to give myself the space for the 6th output if I had a 3-atom bonded group.
If it's atomic waste, which I've also done, so I have more experience with, you kind of just have to make sure that you push the waste into the next spot after each iteration.
A thing that I did in my solution for that problem, Biggie, of like how do I make sure that vites permute to the right things or mores permute to the right things? My solution uses there are two places where you see a pair of bonded mores. One of them is like a first and third, and another one is like a second and fourth.
Oh yeah, Shadow Cluster has that in the documentation as well, denoted 1, 3, 2, 4. But yeah,
I did that. It still wasn't good.
Zorflax, at some point with things you were saying, I was like, I wonder if we'll be neighbors in the standings. Well, hey.
Alright, next up we have in 19th place at 24 area and 427 instructions, Ebenov. Loca Minima on Horizon. We're back to 2 arms. Is waste still atomic? Can't tell yet.
The waste is handled in pairs, but some care is done to keep each pair on track. Or track is just on track and not the track because there is no track.
They'll probably start speeding things up again. Even more so.
So my proof of concept 6th output was in a custom puzzle where my first step was to just throw a bunch of atoms onto the board and then try to work around them.
Oh yeah, that is a pretty useful process to do. Like just making a custom puzzle.
It was 400 and something cycles to get the output made. So I was thinking, alright, 400 and then like a 50% budget for having enough conditionals to do all 6 of them with the same tape. 600 was way off the mark.
Yeah. Next up, we have in 17th place. Oh, okay. In 17th place.
I thought. Because we're on 19 for Ebenov right now.
Yeah, 17th place because there is a trigonometric tie.
Oh.
So in 17th place, we have Cuckoo 52 and JoJo at 398 instructions. Let me actually check if they're actually...
Oh god, it's still dropping! We still haven't hit a log jam. It's still dropping. God damn.
Like, let me actually see, like, if these solutions are basically identical. They're not.
It'll be fun if they aren't.
They're not.
They're not, and they both have bad Critelli, so we can't use the Critelli tiebreaker.
They're not identical. What the hell?
I imagine they have different cycle counts too, but cycles is not the quaternary because there's just no quaternary.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. Cuckoos has the input like buddied up with the output. Maybe that's something I've seen before, but it's interesting to me.
Every shape counts.
Not if I shaved 4 cycles or 4 instructions from mine.
Though neither of these people can actually shave their cost to make the tertiaries matter. This is min cost within this area count. And I wouldn't call cost exactly shaving, because it's basically a redesign. Also, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it makes the elbow shape. It makes 2 elbow shapes essentially to solve. and it puts once the first elbow shape is large enough, it gets put to the bottom left. Yeah, next up we have tied with this solution, JoJo.
Fendir asks whether cycles would in fact break the tie or not.
Actually, we can check that. What was the previous one?
It didn't show.
2,348. So, this is Cuckoo 52, it's 2,348, and this one is 2,000. Yeah, it would have, Cycles tertiary with coordinates would have mattered. But it's, not in this, there were no coordinaries. Okay. I guess that's where it mattered. So, JoJo put a bunch of empty instructions here. And then put it.
Oh wait, that was not you stopping.
Oh no, that was me stopping, but like, it was me
letting it
stopping
go.
to emphasize the point. That was it playing by itself, though.
So this is the cycles don't matter, so JoJo will not try to make the cycles good. There will be a giant gap where some instructions were presumably removed.
Yeah. These softs are going by fast. You know, I wonder if it's possible for mods to remove the speed limit in this game.
It might be tied to CPU considerations.
I mean, though,
It's either like render timing bottlenecked or CPU bottlenecked, but
it's
when it's render timing bottlenecked, Cheat Engine can get rid of that. So the mod
yeah.
could likely do the same thing as Cheat Engine and just get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty certain the game does limit the speed of the simulation though, because one, production puzzles start faster and run faster. Two, how fast your solution goes gets faster and faster and faster slowly over time as you let it run longer and longer.
Yeah.
And then when it solves, it cuts it back to a steady speed.
So there's a variable controlling the speed somewhere. Yeah, next up we have at 386 instructions, Existentium. What does it say? Illegally slow but faster. Oh, that is a lot of waste handling. "54 grabs, assembles everything before moving on to other steps, spends a lot of time juggling due to conflicting space and handling of 2 long sticks."
Like Shadow Cluster keeps talking about the ways in which these solves aren't that good, and like, okay, there are 15 other ones better than them, so he knows what's better. I'm just still surprised how much better they are than what I'm aware of.
Yeah. Not to say that these solves aren't impressive still, though.
I mean, yeah, finding an instance of the 1T24 solution space should be regarded as an accomplishment.
There are also a surprising amount of layouts possible, actually. I don't think we've seen many repeat layouts. Or it's just that there's enough that just slight rotation makes you not remember if it's appeared before. But yeah, next up we have a bit of a treat from Jinyu at 385, but non-scoring and also has been improved upon. A half-key solution.
Oh, that's really
Here
cool.
we go.
Let me slow this down, since this is half-T. So it's got some interesting stuff to it.
The idea of Morse handling at half T seemed impossible. I clearly have to reevaluate what's possible.
Oh, it bonds to the input. Interesting. Not input, the partial output. It's also doing, it's doing atomicity handling. Atomicity conditionals.
Yeah, I suspected fractional T was possible. I was just not interested in finding out.
It turns out you probably didn't need to anyways, because fractional T actually spends a lot of more time, a lot of more instructions managing to do fractional T.
Yep.
Yeah, that's typically the issue with it, is that you have to make
So
the
yeah,
same amount of things happen, but prevent it from happening wrong.
this isn't even Genu's best solve. It's just half T showcase.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, the same thing happened in the weeklies for quintessential catalysts when we did AI last year.
Yes, I think it was Hutobi with half of what other people did, but it wasn't as well. It did get third place, but it wasn't as good as everybody else, like the top ones. That is.
Yeah.
Half T is most of the cases more than 1T. More than most 1T solves. But yeah, probably not gonna finish watching this. This is just kind of a showcase. But yeah, next up we have in 15th place at 348 instructions. That's another drop.
Ugh.
Guilty bystander. I'm gonna go back to speedy solves since we have Shadow Cluster's commentary to accompany.
Oh, we're still getting drops.
So this animismus location where it's like on the other side of the track from the arm, it's something I did in my 28 area, like just testing the water solve, but it seemed like it would be bad for Morse handling.
I mean, not really, actually. Having it on the side means that you get floor space where you don't have to mind Morse handling at all after animismus is made. So for most cases, you only have 2 in the main space while building the output to bother with, which most of the time goes into input suppression anyways.
Yeah, in hindsight, that makes more sense. I don't know why my intuition was backwards.
Just put it to the side, out of sight, out of mind. Until you have to like move it back into the board to pull new inputs and make animismus. Yeah, next up we have at 338 instructions in 14th place, Find Deer. This one also, this is an identical layout. Almost identical. Not exactly, but very similar. Yeah, I guess sometimes it comes down to luck with the layout as well. As Finder is talking about.
These solves are making 24 area look a lot easier than I gave it credit for.
Yeah.
We were also only watching the first few outputs of them. I want to see some of these get to 6 outputs, where you have the waste all over the place. Although knowing that there's 4 of them just sitting on the animismus does make it a little bit more palatable.
Yeah.
And also having access to all 4 tiles of the input makes suppression a lot easier than I let it be.
Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah, that ends up being so much better as opposed to like mine where I just have one hex access, and it ended up sucking.
I also had one access to the input.
Alright, next up we
Maybe
have...
that was more important than we realized.
Yeah, having like spaces that usually wouldn't be needed to have more access to. Okay, next up we have Gecko with 335 instructions in 13th place. Min area. Version 2. Yeah, we're starting to see a lot of more Animus Mystilicide solves. This one has 3 access points to the input. Oh, no, never mind. The arm is not that long. 2 access points to the input. Waste is atomic, huh? But handles everything well enough.
This is really good. I'd say nothing remarkable is a bit harsh, but
I mean, it's fairly straightforward, and sometimes that's good.
yeah, that's probably what he meant.
The
Actually.
fact that it makes it look straightforward is remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you've
Yeah,
actually
I
like
would
tried to
agree.
solve it, making this look straightforward is a lot more difficult than it looks. Alright, next up we have Pentapig at 326 instructions in 12th place. Kinda weird how I just did that casually, Pentapig in 12th place.
Pentapig is someone who I expected to have a 1T solve, but I also expected 1T solves to have a large number of people. 24 was still far higher than I guessed.
So Animismus is back in the center of everything.
Whoa.
Also, this layout is surprising in a lot of ways.
Yeah. I guess this goes faster with the fact that the Morse is bonded together, so less regrabs are needed. Yeah. Yeah, it's doing a lot of input suppression with bonded waste. So it's got plenty of space to, like, throw the waste somewhere.
And having the product being constructed where it is means it doesn't have to go over many of the other hexes. So like, yeah, there's not a lot of room that's like has to be cleared.
Okay, next up we have in 11th place at 318 instructions, Brother Mojo. Trash. 1 trash.
Half access bonder.
Oh. Huh.
I guess that means waste has to be atomic, because I guess unless you use the input itself as a wand, you won't be able to connect a waste to another waste.
Yeah. It seems that for most cases when the animismus is to the side, waste is atomic. For now. Because they can handle being fast enough while waste is atomic.
Oh, I actually had a layout nearly identical to this, but I couldn't make it work. Oh,
Oof.
damn, well done, Brother Mojo.
What was it that didn't make yours work?
It might have... I can't remember if I had that exact arrangement of bonder debonder.
Ah, okay. So it's something similar,
Yeah.
but didn't quite work out.
It was very very similar, but it didn't quite work out for me. He's done really well here.
Alright, next up we have in 10th place at 1 instruction better, Haxton.
Congrats on top 10.
Oh yeah, we're on top 10 as well.
Coming up.
Oh, that's an oof for Brother Mojo.
Almost there. But yeah, congratulations to Brother Mojo for getting 11th and Haxton for getting 10th. Animismus is on the side, but it's like not as separate as the previous ones we've seen. Low handling of Moors.
Yeah, that's very impressive.
You know, this kind of reminds me of an elongated version of, what was it? Rivari's Rage area. And with stuff sticking out the top and the bottom. Yeah. Next up, we have, in 9th place, at 306 instructions, Velvacane. Congratulations to Velvacane for getting 9th place.
Velvacane was another person who put a tada on Shadow Cluster saying that your last digit should be 6. I was remembering that, and this is another one that has the instructions digit ending in a 6.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did I submit my?
You have to use in Showcase. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can check that out later.
I think it was instruction.
So there is paired Moors here, which makes sense because the Bonder and Debonder both have
Full access.
full access. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mr. Puzzle, you were a bit quiet.
Oh, am I? I'll try to not mumble.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant quiet as in he hasn't been saying much because he's
Oh no, his volume is bit.
quietly hopeful.
Nah.
A really good position here.
Not really, because next up in 8th place we have at 305 instructions.
Zorflax, you just nailed him.
Oof.
Wow.
I mean,
Why'd
you
you
probably
bring
knew
me
that
this way?
because it's 305. It's one instruction better than this. Mr. Puzzle.
Ooh.
Zorflax
I'm
with the
so
8th place
sorry, I
sniper
think-
ready in the corner.
I'll mention the 1/2 T solution I put in Showcase is the same layout,
Ah,
but
okay.
it uses a couple more instructions to handle the
Mhm.
thing. Cause like
Do you know
when
the
I was
amount
trying
of
to go for-
instructions?
Hmm?
Do you know the amount of instructions for half D though? Because Showcase doesn't
It
tell
was-
me.
it was like 318 or something.
Ah,
It's
okay.
close to that.
Not that much, huh?
It increased it not by no, I think it was 329.
Ah,
But still, the thing I tried to do at first was like, okay, if I have 7 ghost atoms to store Moors, then I can move everything around by 2s, and then I don't need to have any special shuffling code because 2 and 7 are relatively prime.
ah.
So then, boom, half T. But then I was thinking of just today, well, like during the stream, was like, actually, if you really want to be spicy, that lets you do a 3rd or a 4th T.
Oh boy.
If you really want it. But I was having trouble having 7 ghost atoms of garbage
Mm-hmm.
and having this layout work, so.
Yeah. And next up at also one instruction better again was we're finally starting to have pile-ups. Bambi in 7th place. So yeah, congratulations
Wow.
to Mr. Puzzle for getting 8th place and congratulations to Bambi for getting 7th place. A singular T.
Alright, so these layouts with the arm kind of in the middle seem to allow the kind of access you need to get these efficient Morse handling.
Mm-hmm.
So not only 37 grabs, no, 40 grabs.
40 grams. Morse handling is atomic, again.
It's in a loop around the arm for juggling.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense. Still out of the way. Next up, we have in 6th place, with 302 instructions,
Jesus Christ.
Username Void. Congratulations, Username Void, for getting 6th place.
This is an intense pile-up.
Yeah. It really is.
So this seems to be like where the strong solution limit might be if there are this many people in the like low 300s. But there's like an exceptionally strong solution limit far away from it, I guess.
Maybe.
Shadow cluster with 80 instructions or something.
Kyle's Dresser is increasingly surprised by how they're doing.
Now, Hello Jasper is a name that you see them at the top rarely, but this is going to be their biggest finish so far.
Their
Very
goal
cool.
was top 10. They are definitely overachieving right now.
Yeah, well done.
Alright, next up we have Nuachar in 24th place, not 24th, 5th place with 24 area and 279 instructions. And congratulations.
279. Okay.
Yes, 279. We're starting to drop again. Half T. We have a half T solve, which means I'm going to be slowing it down.
Half T, half T, half T.
Okay, but this is our last half T solve though.
Oh.
Oh.
You haven't ruled out 13 quarter T solves though.
Mm-hmm. So, Nuachar submitted a half T solve on day 2.
That's very impressive how quickly that came out.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was surprised.
Nuachar is extremely good at area though.
Mhm.
So I'm not that surprised.
Maybe that's all the Space Camp experience.
Yeah, Space Chem traditionally doesn't give you much space to work with. Lack of Space Chem.
Space Chem doesn't give you much space to work with, and conditionals are very important in Space Chem. So yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
Shadow Cluster's description for this solution kind of mystifies it even more. I would have a hard time understanding this.
I don't understand it either.
How Nuachar understood it enough to create it within a day is insane.
It's probably a lot more animismus conditionals again. With Morse handling back and forth. It's mostly animismus conditionals with Morse handling back and forth.
Yeah, the Space Chem experience really matters.
Who knew that playing a more difficult game makes you better at playing the easier game?
I'm getting the impression that Opus Magnum is harder than I've ever thought it is.
Can't wait for that tessellated throughput Ernie metric.
Yeah, we got some crazy metrics that haven't even been utilized in tournaments yet.
Alright, here you see 6 mores on the board.
Alright, metric B is Kolmogorov complexity.
Isn't that just instructions?
Alright, next up we have another drop in instructions at 256. Goodbye Galaxy. Congratulations to Goodbye Galaxy for getting 4th.
Wow. This is a 1T or half T?
1T. This is 1T.
Yeah, this is another one of those layouts where the arm is in the middle of what could be a loop of out-of-the-way stuff.
Mm-hmm.
One access input, too.
There's
Everything
two on
else
the
is
input.
like...
Hello Jasper. Yep. Hello Jasper is in top 3. Oh yeah, I forgot to ask for predictions for top 3. Oh well.
Okay, Shadow Cluster in 0th place, and then some combination of Romney, Spect, and Jasper.
But yeah, that's the only people left.
I'm gonna
But I'm
back in
specifically
Halaja.
predicting Shadow Cluster is 0th ahead of all three.
We can probably just do that for every single week and be correct. And when it comes to
Okay.
area. But yeah, next up we have another drop in instructions to 242 instructions with Hello Jasper in 3rd place. Congratulations, Hello Jasper,
Oh.
for getting 3rd place.
That's your strongest finish, and it's incredibly well deserved.
Reminds me of my Psycho Solve in week 3 last year. I think I got
That was where you got 22, and you
Yeah.
were tied with Jinyu.
tied in primary with Jinyu in 4th
Well,
place.
this is an interesting way of getting the product to the output. How is there enough space for 6 mores in this layout? I'm very surprised.
Input suppression. Yeah, just input suppression and animismus. There he goes.
This one's quick.
6 mores. You could
Alright,
probably
yeah, the two that go onto the output.
we could probably start slowing things down actually, since solves are going by real quickly now. So it's better to
Yeah.
actually slow them down to analyze them.
Under 1100 cycles, though.
Mhm. Things are getting really fast. But yeah, next up we have Jinyu's actual solve at another drop in instructions, 216.
Whoa.
Oh yeah,
This
0
has 28 grabs.
20. Well, this is Jinyu.
I don't think I could even make the output in 28 grabs.
I mean, 28
Does
is
duplication with animismus. Sorry.
it's every graph is doing all it needs. Oh yeah, that's our cat. Cat's meowing in the background.
Not my cat, I have no cat, I have a dog.
Pebbles, right?
Yep, Pebbles, she's a good dog.
Alright, next up we have in 2nd place at 211 instructions, Rolamni. OMG, it's a cat.
So
Spec
Rolam was
98.
mentioning Jim, you had a very similar layout, I think they might. Yeah, very similar.
Oh yeah, so congratulations to Spec98 for being our first repeat winner.
That's an impressive thing to do by week 2.
And yeah, congratulations to Rolamni for getting 2nd place as well. Is Morse handling atomic?
No, it looks like it bonds them. It does 1, 4, 2, 5, 3, 6.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it handles 4, 5, and 6 indirectly with 1, 2, and 3. So the mores become paired just by natural kind of progression of the solution.
And I can probably reduce this to normal speed now. Or actually, I'll just turn off Cheat Engine. We don't need it for some. Next up.
Rolamni's comment doesn't fit on the screen in Twitch chat because it's a little tall, so I'll read it out here.
Oof.
He has 3 places for the 3 sticks. Each loop they cycle through their position, so first Mors goes 1 to 2 to 3, and then back to 1, but back to 1 is actually dropped on the bonder and bonded to the 4th Mors. So Mors n bonds to Mors n plus 3, allowing 3 handling to handle 6 Mors. Which seems like a very smart way to do it.
Yeah. We have a lot of smart people playing this game. Next up, we have at 200 instructions exact. In 1st place, Spec98.
200. That 200.
And once again, a 2 arms. Very interesting.
2 arms wins again. At least for scoring solves. cast data saying that's the same instructions they had.
Interesting that the swing to output takes up the exact same number of hexes as the paired extensions to output, but one it's way fewer instructions.
Yeah, it's just
That's a really nice.
you just swing over and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I remember finding that out when I was trying to figure out life sensing potion min area. Which is also a hexagon. So that's one of the viable ways to output it.
So based on what Spect had said in chat, there are 2 sticks that each grow to length 3, but there's a position, on the animismus where you can't fit 3 more. So I'm not sure exactly where the stick at length 3 ends up, but maybe it just has a Q before it adds to that final.
Maybe length 3 just means that bend.
That V, gotcha. Yeah, that fits perfectly.
Very impressive solve.
Everyone who makes 24 looked like it had enough room to do cool things. Very well done.
Everybody who had made 24 area look very cool is very cool. But yeah, next up we have Shadow Cluster at sub 200 instructions, 197.
Oh!
Daikirai. Shadow I mentioned him the Shadow Cluster and he called me the weeb. Everybody who participated
Zero
was very
access
cool.
duplication.
Yeah, 0 access duplication, 0 access calcification.
That animismus is way out of the way, too.
Yeah. It also doesn't debond the input fully.
That way you don't have to do
also, is this JoJo's idea that I flagged earlier as potentially useful?
Just keep that elbow shape and then just attach it on and then debond everything. And then
well, that and the duplication thing.
That means very low grab count.
Well, at least I realized that was useful in some, but did not find that in area. The fact that you can get from a 4-atom chunk and a 3-atom chunk that includes water to a dropped output only grabbing once is really good for instructions.
Yeah.
I think the reason that I didn't think animismus on the other side of the track was a good idea is because you have to move anything that is on it, off it, to use it, and that means you'd have to go kind of over the track and around the arm, which seems like a lot of instructions. But it seems like Shadow Cluster did the math and found it was the best option.
Yeah. It's just much more convenient to have a lot of space to build your output than it is to use less instructions to handle waste. There you go. That is all our area solves. We'll probably check out Mr. Puzzle's half T when we get to showcase. But yeah.
Yeah, it's not even the lowest instructions half T, so.
So moving on then, we'll be looking at our sum solves. Let me close this down and launch a parser for that.
If you say in 42nd place Biggie Mac 42, I might cry.
No,
Well,
in 47th place, OMG, it's a piss because I didn't make a sum solve.
True, the sum of my area solve was over 4,000. That's probably on its own, because I was the slowest 1T.
Okay, now I actually have to find which one's the first, sum solve and not an area solve. That's area. That's... I can't tell if this is the area. 43 area, that's probably sum. Yeah, let's look at that one. Probably pretty bad by... So we'll be starting in 44th place at 682 sum. Praxis. This looks like an area solve. It's got a lot more, this is probably an area solve, actually.
It's different from their area solve, though, because I remember Praxis was one of the ones to get a 30 something.
Maybe. It's
It might
maybe
be
a
that they
similar
iterated through
concept,
area.
but they just didn't care about swing space.
I think they probably iterated through area layouts and then found one that they programmed and thought, yeah, that's bad, but I'll submit it anyway because it's the first one. And it happened to be a sum solve now.
Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of similar to how area layouts go, especially with the 2 access points by the piston, but pistons are kind of expensive for some, and to go fast, you need a bit more arms than 2. But yeah, next up, we have let's see, 42nd place with 548 sum, Chickens in the Attic.
Was there an area solve that got 43rd?
Yes, from above.
Ah, okay.
You know what, let me rotate this so it fits better on the screen. That is a lot of flips and a lot of track.
Yeah, this looks quite expensive for what it's trying to do.
I'd say the main difficulty for this sum puzzle is that actually getting the fire and salt pattern outside of the vitae. That's the main difficulty of this sum puzzle in particular. Because you can probably easily just take 1 salt off each input and then bond the shells into the vitae. But the fire
But then you have 3 and 3 where the output alternates with 2s.
But then you get water and fire and salt in the shells, and then you have to calcify it and then duplicate it. Yeah.
And I'm curious to see what the most elegant approach ends up being. I know mine is feeling good, but it's become hard to be confident in my own solution.
Yeah. Next up, in 41st place at 521 sum, we have Glass Lady. A mediocre sum. Oops. Can zoom in for this. So, definitely much cheaper, but it's sadly
it
on the slow
matches
side.
Golden Cycles perfectly. It has the 1-to-1 cost to cycles ratio. It's 230 on both.
Oh, nice.
Zorflax is talking is not audible.
Wait, Zorflax is talking?
Well, I haven't said anything. Can you hear me at all?
Okay, I was hearing a lot of mumbling that I thought was on your side, but I might have been
Oh, that's might be
misattributing.
background noise from my end.
Ah, gotcha. It sounded almost like Zorflax's voice. You have Australian-sounding people in your background.
I don't know. Maybe it's because it's Chinese. But yeah, next up we have in 40th place with 488 sum, Cuckoo 52. Bad sum.
Big spinny tree arm.
So interestingly, no duplication.
When is the calcifier is used for a fire to get it into the vite?
Wait, how many input is port per output?
This is the 3-to-1, yeah.
It's 3 to 1, okay. I guess the calcifier is just for convenience. Disposal
I like how
noises.
busy the circle is.
Mhm. This is a fast solve though, although expensive. It's got a lot of arms everywhere. But 111 cycles is very fast for some. It's also very busy looking. Yeah. And next up we have in 39th place at 487 sum, B. Smith. A piston.
Wow. 1 point improvement.
Yeah.
Now's the part where we have a massive pileup that lasts like 32 people, right? I'm kidding. I'm not coming up very soon in this number, but it might be a sudden drop to me. It's cool in some solves to look at the instruction tape and see how many gaps there are and whether they are avoidable.
Yeah, that's a pretty good indicator on how close to the local minimum a subsolve is.
There are cases where really good sum solves have long periods of idle time, though. It just depends if you can find like a really elegant function or movement or something.
Yeah. Alright, next up we have in 38th place with 464 sum, Cavalier. Hex arms. Hex arms are powerful in some because they can do a lot, like, at once.
That hex arm rotates while not grabbed.
Huh.
That's an instruction that isn't needed in an instruction secondary. If only there were ever ties to break.
And next,
Oh.
with just 4 less instructions, we
You know, there is instruction secondaries to break. On this exact solve. That one instruction.
Really? It mattered for this one.
That one instruction wouldn't have mattered though, but instruction secondaries did matter in this for this solve. Yeah. Because in 37th place we have also at 464 sum but 75 instructions on just K. So yeah, this is the shell method that I was talking about. Through more of a pipeline actually, so there's several partial outputs on the screen at once.
Interesting decision.
Pipelines aren't that common in some solves because with some you usually need to like reuse as much glyphs and arms as possible, while still going decently fast.
There are occasions where pipelines help, though.
But yeah, some solves usually there's only one partial product on the screen at a time.
Yeah, this one's kind of setting a machine period and then building to it. That's how I used to do some all the time.
Yeah.
But it has to cover a lot of space and place a lot of new glyphs, which
Yeah.
is, as you said, the cost of it.
Alright, next up we have in 36th place at a bit of a drop, 445 sum, Communist Mountain. kind of a slow solve.
It disassembles everything down to atoms, which is going to mean that it has to do a lot of handling.
Yeah.
But it only disposes of Moors, so at least, well, that also means ARM 3 does so little.
Wait, what does ARM
But
3
it
do?
means that you don't have to
ARM
have a
3,
lot of.
ARM 3 only disposes of Moors. Huh.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be on a track, though, so it doesn't have too many, like, extra costs associated with it.
Next, a bit of a drop. Words that are slowly coming to traumatize us all. Wait till you hear next, a big drop. Yeah, next up we have at 441 sum, in 35th place, Jasper. I am bad at sum.
But you are good at area.
Very good at area instructions apparently for this particular puzzle. Yeah, a lot of moving around that's a bit difficult.
So this has 2 debonders, but otherwise it has min glyphs for 2 inputs to 1 output.
A lot of the movement around is a bit awkward though, especially with ARM 2. Having to, like, yeah, move along the track like that. Some is difficult. And sometimes puzzles don't exactly click with people.
Yeah, you have to have a process in mind that works really well, and this is a puzzle where it's possible to get a process in mind that doesn't.
Yeah, and unfortunately sometimes puzzles don't quite click with people, and next up we have Zorflax in 34th place with 438 sum.
Yep.
Yeah, you kind of saw that coming, huh?
Oh yeah, I saw it coming. Yeah. The less
It's okay.
said about my experience with this one, the better.
This is another debonded all, and it's rather expensive for that approach. Well, I think that approach forces it to be rather expensive.
Oh, huh, the waste is just thrown on the board, huh? Yeah, how many cycles is this? 195 cycles, yeah, it tends to be kind of expensive as well. Oh, it's got the same cycles as cost.
We had 2 of those now, one at 230 and one at 195.
But yeah, so there are better methods at assembling the output, as we'll see coming along, but this is actually still pretty impressive though. Like, having to program 2 arms on tracks is not easy. Yeah. Next up, we have in 33rd place at 434 sum, Buttermilk Donut. So this one assembles the, does the shell method, which Zorflax has mentioned to me in DMs, where this is one of the approaches that Zorflax wanted to do, I believe.
Yeah, I saw the shell approach pretty quickly, but nah, of not having a good time with this puzzle at all.
Yeah.
The difficulty with the shell approach is getting the right, calcification duplication pattern, which this one solves with two different duplicators.
Yeah, 2 duplicators. Yeah, next up we have in 32nd place at 426 sum, Ripboy. With shower surrendering flares. Yeah, the output shape is exactly the same as surrender flare. So this one solves the fire assault pattern by... Oh wait, this one is node calcification and duplication.
So it's a 3-to-1. It's also using the rotary phone style to allow it to be arbitrary on and off as long as you can get there within 3 moves. This is a really cool surrender flare storage for this puzzle.
Yeah. So 3-1 was intended for the Sun puzzle as an approach, but so I was curious how many people would go for it. But like maybe it is I don't know which one is better, the 3-1 approach or 2-1 approach. So I guess we'll see.
I'm thinking 3-1 is going to be really strong because you don't need to calcify necessarily. You don't need to duplicate, and so that saves you glyphs. But it also saves you like trying to create paths for those.
Yeah.
But if you do all of that glyph handling indirectly, then that in consequence saves you needing to have arms that touch disposal.
That's true.
Because the number of arms that this thing uses for disposal is 3/5 of its arms.
Yeah. Next up, we have in 31st place at 422 sum, 2-layer.
Full disassembly here. It's cool to be efficient enough to have full disassembly in 422 sum.
Yeah.
I wonder how many more we'll see before it starts to be all shells. Because I'm definitely assuming shells are going to make it to the top. My assumptions might be wrong. My reads are less and less reliable as time goes on.
I mean, shells.
I'm just glad.
Hmm?
Sorry, no, you go.
Oh, I was saying, shell seems like a very easy approach at first glance. So maybe it is good, maybe it isn't. We'll see. So yeah, next up at 420 sum in 30th place, we have Brother Mojo. I think this is a 60 solve because it's got 400 or so instructions. That is a lot of bonders and abundance.
Oh, wild. How much of the next product is already on the board by the time it finishes outputting the next one?
It's also using the next product as a catalyst, actually, I think. Yeah. It's using the next product as a catalyst, which is probably why it's 60.
I see. That's impressive.
Non-looping sum solve banned. Wait, no, sorry, never mind. This is sum, not sum 4.
Yeah. But it is instruction secondary, though. Also, Mr. Puzzle, you're a bit, your volume is a bit low again.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, next up, we have in a non-scoring solve by RPO at 417 sum. Sum is like adding. Sum is adding.
Tulo likes watching puzzles that have busy arms. Well, I have good news when mine shows up.
Some tends to have lots of busy arms, yeah.
There's 2 arms that have no gaps in their instructions.
Oh wow. That is an interesting track lead shape, though.
I'm trying to see why the bottom right is needed. Oh, it's the only access onto animismus. So, okay.
Oh, okay. Game making is fun is not great. Alright. Could this save 20 gold by replacing Bonder with a single...
Yes, it could. The 2 bonding on the like up left and down right are never up right and down left, down right. They're never used.
Well, that's 20 some.
Hey, sub 400 revealed live on stream.
Well, it's not like RPO is scoring anyways, but yeah.
I'm also curious if ARM 4 could load the first salt onto the animismus in time.
Yeah, that's a bit harder to tinker, so we'll probably not be doing that. Yeah. Next up, we have In 29th place at 413 sub, Catspin. They got their top 30. This is also just debonding everything.
Arm 2 is a translate only arm. It never rotates. It's just doing moves and translation. That's kind of funny.
Yeah. Not often you see arms that actually do that. Unless you're like doing an instruction saw in like infinite space. Alright, next up we have at 405 sub in 28th place, Papa Mouse. Oops, wrong direction. Equilibrio. Also debonding everything? It seems to get into the section where everyone debonds everything. For now. It's kind of high in arm count though. 6 arms is quite a bit.
Yeah, but it's only 124 cycles, so that's where it's making up for that.
Speedy Saw.
"42 Genius 42 claims he's next."
Yeah, because they have the exact same sum.
Oh, another instructions tiebreak. Impressive.
Yeah, at 65 instructions, next at the same sum, we have in 27th place, 42 Genius 42.
Wow, that's quite a bit of instructions. That's like 5%. Oh, look at that tape.
Oh, the catalysts. The shell is a catalyst for the other shell.
Ooh,
I love it.
nice.
Yeah, one of the issues with shells is that you have to kind of store them both while you wait for VT to be made.
Yeah.
Well, I say you have to. You would if you are looping.
You kind of you have to store them somewhere because you have to wait for the next input, the salt from the next input. So the first half of the shell has to be stored somewhere before you put it in.
Why not simply store it on the previous output? I'll stop throwing my approach.
Alright, next up we have at 402 sum in 26th place, Extension. Sum? Or is that some B? I can't tell.
If it would be Jin Yu's naming convention, that would just mean best sum. But sum is kind of like sum is dumb.
Maybe.
This one is using the min glyph set for 2 inputs to an output.
Yeah. It's also debonding everything. Oh yeah, another disadvantage of 3 to 1 means is that you have to debond everything. I think? Yeah. Because you can't use the water in the center, so you do have to debond everything with 3 to 1. Yeah, next up we have in 25th place at 398 some Tweedledee.
Now we're officially under 400.
Oh, that is an interesting path for the Morse to take to the output.
This assembly is very, like, factory-like. I wonder why the Morse can't just swing to the output. Oh, that saves an area without, like, increasing the cycle count. Oh, it has to get far enough back to where it swings without swinging.
Yeah.
On that area. Okay.
It saves one area at the cost of 0 cycles. Yeah, next up we have in 24th place at 394 some, username Void. 4 arms, getting pretty cheap. Also debond everything.
Yeah, this one is 175 and 163, and I'm just trying to imagine like both what the ratio is and what the magnitude is for
Oh,
the
this is
good
also
son
6T, huh?
golden cutoff.
Yeah, this is 6T. So the arms are all sorts of messed up now.
Yep, that
Is
makes sense too.
Is it gonna grab anything ever again? No, it isn't. This reminds me of Mr. Puzzle Solves from last week, and it just stopped grabbing anything. Zero third, but yeah. Alright, next up we have also at 394 sub, so this being 6T mattered. In 23rd place, Madmaster, with 73 instructions instead. Oh yeah, we've
Full
entered.
debunding still, and it's much more expensive, but it's 100 cycles. Wow.
Oh yeah, 100 cycles is real fast.
Yeah,
That
we're still
is...
seeing wide variation in the cost versus cycles here, because there's 173, 165.
There's also a lot of... This solve has a lot of calcifiers.
Oh right, it has 3 calcifiers, so not only is it big spender on 6 arms, but it's 20 extra glyph gold.
Yeah, next up we have at one sum better than this one at 393. In 22nd place, we have Fiesta. Failure is the best teacher. How did they perform last week?
I think they were one of the 70 gold,
Yeah.
but I don't remember how they did on cycles.
Actually, this somewhat reminds me of, I think it was Tweedledee Solve, where the arm had to move backwards to output the Morris.
Yeah, this is very similar left to right assembly line with arm 4 doing the same thing as some are in Tweedledees, where it just moves things from debonder over to bonder. This seems like a convergent. This is the crab of debond solves.
Yeah. Alright, next up we have in 21st place at 390 sum, Find Year. As we say, the crab of debonding solves, here we have a different layout for debonding.
I like the pair of arms on the diamond track because they allow you to get things either via the calcifier or not.
Alright, and next up we have also... okay, there are a lot of sum types in this puzzle for some reason. Also at 397, with 67 instructions instead, we have Bounty. What's with all the sum primary ties?
Yeah, I think this is more than I've ever seen across all tournaments ever in some primary. Hey, there's a shell. It debonds the first one twice for the Vitae, and then it leaves the
Yeah.
rest.
So it can, so it doesn't have to store the Vitae onto... so it doesn't have to store half of the shell somewhere. You can just bond it to the Vitae. And next up we have, in 19th place with 388 sum, Nuachar. Calcify after. That's an approach.
It allows it to be kind of in parallel, because arm 2 is doing a little bit of extra work, and then it grabs immediately after it lets go of the product.
Yeah.
It's at the period, though, so it's not like it was perfectly timed. It's the limit.
Okay. And next up in... Whoops, wrong direction. 18th place, we... 388 sum, still. At 3 instructions better. We have Maraconda.
These pileups are impressive.
I know. It's crazy. With entirely different layouts as well.
I'm waiting for the double metric tie.
Keep the piling. The people who haven't come up yet are hoping that the pile up just keeps on happening. All the way down to the bottom of the list. So this is full debonding? Yeah, this is full debonding. With 2 calcifiers for convenience. Oh yeah, their arms are getting there are less and less arms now. William Shakespeare tracks. Yeah, it's a WNNS. Alright, next up we have in 17th place with 378 sum, Gecko. Okay, so we have once again approached a no calcification duplication solve. 3 to 1.
And 3 of its 4 arms are devoted to disposing, but it still seems really efficient about it, because the rest of it is just
Yeah, the only one with a
move
kind of
one atom to the top.
empty instruction. Yeah, they're all 3 arms on the bottom are busy. The only one that with mostly empty instructions is arm 4 at the top outputting.
And it makes sense that arm 4 isn't on a track, because it doesn't really have that much to do. It can just find a layout where it holds Vitae, the bonder, and the output. I like it.
Yeah. Alright, next up we have at 374. Oh, no wonder Mr. Puzzle was saying keep piling up. 374 sum and 16th place we have Mr. Puzzle.
3 to 1 is intended. No. Curious how much lower it
Oh,
goes though.
cost! You are so cheap compared to everyone. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Because it's a 3 to 1.
As God intended.
Though this is probably... Is this only one? Oh no, it's also the calcifier duplicator. Less than the previous solve. But arm counts and tracks wise, it's only 1 track less.
It works to be so cheap because, well, 3 to 1, but also, 1 and 3 are sharing a lot of good access. Like, 3 has,
Oh yeah, there are only 2 disposal arms.
yeah, and good access points on everything, or I tried to anyway.
Yeah. And next up, we have at 370 sum, in 15th place, Novocaine. Another
You know,
3 to 1.
your solution reminds me of your solution to Horn Silver, which was like standout victory.
Ah,
It's just interesting how the approaches differ.
If only I could win in tournaments. Oh well.
so this is also a 3 to 1. Something I
It's
noticed
a lot
about...
more expensive, but it's smaller, and it
Yeah.
has better cycles. Like 40 better cycles and 35 worse.
And next up in 14th place, we have Guilty Bystander, also at 370 sum, at 47 instructions.
Here we
95%
are, major
performance.
showing.
With lucky show management, they say.
That 4 is good. Arm 4 is good.
Yeah, an easy way to deal with the shell, actually, is to turn everything into fire and then calcify it. Because, although it's a lot of pivots in a row, that doesn't actually waste too many cycles.
Yeah, and it's easy to use like a pass it to your neighbor fire approach to get the duplication to cover as much of it as you want.
The downside is you probably need a lot of calcifiers for it, though.
I mean, this one only uses 2.
Well, it's more than most that only use 1.
Hilaire making suggestive remarks about this solution.
What's suggested?
It is delicious and I want to lick it.
Why? I can't see why you would want to lick a solution. I don't understand why you want to lick a solution.
Lick the soothing cream.
I don't think soothing creams taste good. But yeah, next up we have in 369, with 369 sum, just one sum better at 13th place, Darius White. Lightning track. Kind of a sum up, but kind of a shell approach. The second one is attached as a shell.
The two arms on the lightning track are always really interesting to me because making the lightning track worth it requires the arms kind of get out of each other's way.
Yeah.
Arm 3 uses it once to get the salt onto the animismus, and Arm 4 never uses the left 2 half.
Alright, next up in 12th place, we have, with 366 sum, JoJo. Catalyst.
Arm 2. Oh, I see. Shell with a catalyst. Yeah, this is 6D, and this is the sort of approach I imagined.
Yeah, it's 16.
Oh,
That's
brilliant.
really interesting.
Does 16
It's-
matter? Okay, no, not this
I
time.
I also like that creating the catalyst gives you the 2 salt for Vitae.
Oh, right, yeah. So Vitae,
Brilliant timing. So then Vitae can be made before the shells that are attached to it.
yeah.
Yeah, that's an important thing to be able to get the shell method efficient, is to start with a Vitae.
So it basically offsets the loop.
It also forces 6T unless you have some weird conditionals that'll make some almost certainly worse.
Yeah. Yeah, next up we have in 11th place at 362 sum, SGS.
I'm celebrating, I made top 10 finally.
Oh, wow, is this actually your first top 10?
In this tournament, yes.
Wow.
This is a 4-arm debonder. And it's a 362 sum. I like that it has a 1 length 3 arm and 1 length 2 arm sharing a track so that the animismus can be loaded quickly.
Oh yeah, that seems to be common in some actually. Having
This is quite beautiful.
two different length arms on the same track loop.
Yeah, Morikondo points out that this isn't actually a shared track. It's two length tracks that are combined for aesthetics.
True.
Man, it could have been a lightning track for aesthetics.
Yeah. Except for the lightning track, you probably need to like change the instructions for one of the arms
Right.
from plus to minus, minus to plus. Yeah. Next up, 362 sum. Once again, what's with all the ties? Primary ties. At 66 instructions, not great.
SGS didn't just miss top 10 by 1 spot. He missed it by 8 instructions.
Yeah. People that haven't come over just keep on saying yes, please, more sum ties.
Yeah, I don't know how much further it is until you see mine, but I'm happy I'm in the top 10.
So yeah, congratulations to congratulations to Not Great for getting 10th place. This is
Interestingly, this one is 15 gold more expensive than SGS's, but around that same number of cycles faster with some area trade-off.
Alright, next up we have in 9th place at 360 sum, Matter Monkey. It seems that there are no real big drops yet in sum. OMC betrayed me. Oh yeah, they mentioned how they found out that the return increased their area. Which wouldn't have mattered Well, it would have mattered a little bit in metric points, but not that much. So, this is a shell
I
approach.
love these shells. Yeah, this the creation of the shell around the side that creates a fire salt seems like a good approach.
But yeah, it also means that's an extra calcifier and an extra duplicator, so that's extra.
Yeah, the extra duplicator is actually really expensive.
That's 30 extra cost.
Oh no, Haxton, you say next is me, Probs, and I'm like, next is me, so what if we have primary time? I'm 60, I'm not gonna win those.
We're still kind of piling up, so next up is Haxton first at 359 some in 8th place. And congratulations Matter Monkey for getting 9th, and congratulations Haxton for getting 8th. We're definitely seeing a lot more shell approaches.
This is a 1T shell, so it has that 3 fire sitting there while it gets the Vitae ready. It's very full though. The tape with only 3 arms, and it manages to do all of it in 121 cycles.
And next up, with 355 some, in 7th place, yeah, we have Biggie Mac. Congratulations, Biggie Mac, for getting 7th place.
Thank you. I will take that. I will take that proudly.
So,
I also have
this is what Biggie was mentioning in the Discord. Good thing this metric encourages looping solutions. That is a quote from Guilty Bystander, I believe.
Yeah, with the first impression of the puzzle and the metrics, Guilty Bystander said something about it, encourages looping, and
Guess
if
what?
this could have
This
been written
doesn't
with
loop.
alternating capital and lowercase letters, it would have been. Because I found a steady state that I thought was really good, and then I just have a little bit of setup to get into it, but then once it's in steady state, the arms are all working very well.
Oh, so that's how you get into the Vitae first by just leaving the water and fire to the side.
Exactly, yep. The Vitae has to be made to make the steady state work, but once the steady state is happening, it's really efficient.
Oh, that's good.
If you scroll to the right on my instruction tape, I want to show off how jam-packed it is.
Yeah, like just look at this fire.
The half shell gets onto the bonder free. That's really cool.
Yeah, there's so much like low access or no access lifts here. It just happens that you can use the fire as the free Vitae and use it also as the catalyst before then.
Alright, and next up we have at 353 in 6th place, Goodbye Galaxy. Chopper. So Goodbye Galaxy sent me a prediction saying they tried very hard to improve on this but couldn't find any improvements, so they figured this was probably at the minimum, at least its local minimum.
I can certainly believe local minimum, but I would never say anything about a global minimum in a
Well, I mean, they looked for improvements for like almost the entire 2 weeks. And this is Goodbye Galaxy. So
that's true. So I'm obsessed.
But yeah, oh yeah, this is a 4D bonding approach.
It is a really good solve.
Maybe this is the best 4D bonding approach. We'll see. But yeah, next up in 5th place we have at 350 some who is performing very well in this tournament so far, Spec98.
Big congrats. Yeah, you're becoming the big, you're taking at least whatever place I would have had in the big N.
Shell approach.
Oh wow, that big pivot to get the shell into there. I'm kind of impressed that it just takes 1 extra calcifier to make shells that don't have like a permanent catalyst around.
Also impressive about this is 3 arms at 115 cycles.
Yeah, it cleanly beats the. I think it doesn't out Pareto mine because of area, but that's a fast 3-on solution.
Mm-hmm. Alright, next up we have our first drop. Our first actual drop in sum. Into 4th place, Pentapig at 336.
Insane how much lower this is. So out Pareto means beating in all metrics at the same time.
Yeah. Beating or tying.
This looks a lot like Specs, it's just doing it with buddy calcifying.
Mm-hmm.
Or buddy duplicating, so it can be a little bit more fast at the end.
Yeah.
I like this a lot. Pentapig with the extremely elegant solution.
Pentapig originally had a 3-in-1 solve. 3-to-1 solve. I don't know if it did better than Mr. Puzzle or Velvicane though. But then they found this approach. And next up we have another non-scoring solve by Panic at 332 sum.
Yeah, the 3 arms approaches with the shell. That's real slick.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of those just duplicate everything and then calcify approach.
And he gets it in 1T, which is really cool.
Yeah. So 1 arm for animismus, 1 arm for storing the extra shell, and 1 arm for outputting.
And the only one that needs any track at all is the one for animismus. Very cool.
Technically, this is 6 empty instructions with the with this thing over here. But yeah, very compact as well. Alright, and next up we have in 3rd place, at 330 sum, Rebix. What instructions? Well, what instructions said in secondary does too. Okay. Is this 60? Yeah. Looks like 60 to me. Catalyst. Interestingly, only 2
2 arms with permanent catalyst. That's insane.
Oh, I like how it like bonds it to the V-Pig. Just debonds and bonds at the same time.
The more suppressing the animismus glyph also gives room for the product forming.
Yeah.
This is really elegant. This is everything I wanted my solution to be, but cheaper and almost as fast.
Yeah. And next up we have in 2nd place, who often says he is not good at sum, at 382 sum, Rohamni.
328?
Yeah, 328, yeah. Whoops.
That we have a huge undrop. We have a
Catalyst.
huge grab.
Arm 3 with the karate chop catalyst.
Yeah.
This is fast. This is
97.
quite fast.
Is that the
this our
fastest
first
I've seen?
100?
Oh yeah, this is also doing the bond to a shell method. Bond, debond and bond at the same time method.
Yeah, this is the exact same loading of the Vitae as mine, but the catalyst is performed by the waste, what mine considered waste,
Yeah, and
instead of
basically
the
the
upcoming
exact
fire.
same as the previous solve. But yeah, and then in 1st place we have Evanov.
Very well done, Evanov. Congrats on the win.
This one is very similar to
congrats.
Panic's approach,
Good work.
except with one less calcifier.
Oh, nice.
I would have to see this one stepped through one at a time to understand how it manages to make the output with this layout.
So, first of all, it bonds the shells together. It doesn't do anything before that. So it turns...
I guess, because arm 1 is a knight's move away from the calcifier, it can leave 2 to-dos.
Ooh.
And so it can get the 1-2 away on the circle.
Yeah. Wow. It's also 1T.
Yeah, 1T, 3 arms, only 3 track, no extra glyphs, and 124 cycles. This puzzle looks so much simpler when Ebonov does it.
Yeah, and Ebonov thought they didn't have a good sub. Maybe because the shape of the track for Arm 2 is a bit awkward and area count, it looks very sparse, while most some solves look very compact. But yeah, this is very impressive sum solve. Yeah, and it completely out-Pareto's Goodbye Galaxy. Wasteless Min Glyph. Full Efficiency Min Glyph. Yeah. But yeah, that concludes all of our sum solves.
This field is so impressive.
Mm-hmm.
Good job making puzzles as well, Miss, because this is something that's really showing out how cool our community is.
Yeah, I don't know about like my skills in puzzle making, but glad you all. I hope you all are enjoying the puzzles. And which, speaking of puzzles, we have our next week's puzzle reveal.
Drum roll, please.
Film Crystal. The name might indicate something for those familiar with puzzle naming conventions.
Please be big. It's big.
It's big. Metrics are tracks with instructions and area.
Ooh,
Oh, what is an area again?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, why isn't it area?
Because this looks like a decent cycles challenge.
You could always make a cycle solve though.
I will make a cycle solve for this. And I'll probably also make an area solve because I do want to participate in every metric.
Mm-hmm. So, area and tracks with instructions. So, yeah. Everybody's like, oh god, what is this? Silver Halide. Yes, exactly. Goodbye Galaxy. You figured it out. That is why this is Film Crystal. But yeah, that is the solve for next week. I'll go and open it up on the website. So, I'll do that. Let me go and actually find the link I have saved up for it. Oh my god, why are there so many pings? Alright, the puzzle should be up on the site now. And now we have some showcase solves for y'all. There are less showcases this week, but yeah. First we have a showcase solve from Haxton. AI 200. So, remember when Shadow Cluster mentioned the meme that you can hide the disposal somewhere?
Oh, someone bothered to do that. I love it.
Beautiful.
You know, I do find it funny how Haxton thinks a 200 is like unachievable in instructions, while Shadow Cluster beats this in actual area instructions.
I think Haxton isn't doing it optimally either.
Yeah.
Like, this is...
Okay, bye-bye, Morris.
There's stored mores, but eventually it's like, You didn't see that.
If it were tracks multiplied by instructions, you get 0. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
Morse goes bye bye.
Big brain PI solves.
Yeah. And next up we have Overlap Gold by Mr. Puzzle. Lots of overlap solves.
I tried to do an OG solve without track, but the problem is that the Moors spawns and then it crashes into the arm before it can be processed by the disposal. So
Oof.
Yeah, there's a collision cycle in between Moore's spawning and disposal procking.
yeah.
Mhm.
Otherwise, there would have been a bunch of like wacky wanding stuff or whatever with like a half-axis bonder that goes up to the vitae that's out of reach.
Ooh.
But
That would have been interesting to see. Oh yeah, Overlap Gold. That means it's 3-1. Nice. Alright, probably don't need to finish watching it. And next up we have Catspin, also with an overlap solve. That's real fast. Overlap is fun. Get to do crazy things that like just look cool. And Catspin also has other overlap solves. I can just kind of skim through them. This is alright. Catspin said they will be standing in place for Steven this week. I think the other one is kind of similar, but like crazier. 6 pipelines. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Oh. Nice. You know what this reminds me of, actually?
Really busy.
This reminds me of Rivari's Rage. Especially with how the Morse is bonded to the output, partial output. Yeah, and then we have, yeah, Area Half T by Mr. Puzzle that he wanted to showcase. So yeah, same layout. Probably not changing it.
yep, 329 instructions. So it was like add 24 instructions to go half T, and I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah. Don't, like, just not really gonna bother optimizing it. Yeah, Steven S. Sculpts are fun. Because that's why Steven does what he does. How do you say the half T works again on this?
So like, um, so imagine there's 6 ghost atoms. One,
Mhm.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. One every T. 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 4, 4 goes to 5, 5 goes to 6, 6 goes to 6, unless 5 exists. Otherwise, it goes to 1.
Ah,
And so then, because of that extra conditional, it's kind of like there's 7 ghost atoms, or like there's 7 spots.
mhm.
And so, um, advancing by 2 spots every product doesn't have a problem because 2 and 7 are relative prime.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be all of our solves today. For today.
No, wait, hold up.
Oh,
There's still
alright.
one more
Let me turn off cheat
because
engine.
I love plugging the modding community
Yep.
because modding is really fun, and I would
Pass me that
appreciate
bottle.
I'd appreciate fellow modders, but here we go.
So, in the story, Corvo wanted to just drink the alcohol to fade away the pain, but Victoria was like, no, 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 here, 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 I have some soothing cream. I'm gonna make some soothing cream for you.
Oh, but let the old man have his drink, you know?
So, yeah, just make that the output instead.
Alcohol is the true product.
Boom, some winner. All right, king me.
Also, TI winner. But yeah, modding is fun. It's also really difficult. Props to like Luna for actually sorting everything out for modding, and like building the
Yeah,
zoom mod. The zoom mod has been very helpful.
yeah, and having a mod loader makes modding so much easier because like I'm cargo culting programming so much stuff, but like having the mod loader there means I don't have to. I am very appreciative that Luna spearheaded getting a mod loader to exist.
Mhm.
It makes it so much easier to test like what do different methods do, how like where is the product stored
Yeah.
in the files and stuff. And for those of you who like computation puzzles, something I realized is that the ability to
Oh
just
yeah.
change the output like that means I can
You can
set
also,
variable
I guess you can
outputs.
also change the input like that too.
Yeah. Oh,
Could
oh,
you?
that's a way smarter idea than the jank that I made. Because I made a custom glyph that's like check if there's empty space and if there is spawn something. But oh
Just
yeah,
make
that's way
different.
easier.
Yeah, just make different inputs.
Just swap the inputs out willy nilly. Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and we might be able, if that's available before like week 9 results, we can probably use that for the competition puzzle.
Hoo hoo. I'll see what I can do.
Mhm. But yeah, thank you all for joining in on this week's stream. And so currently ongoing puzzles, we have lubricating solvents and film crystal. So hope you enjoy these puzzles. I have well, Vicky has some opinions about the Tarkles metric, but so far I
I
guess
think this is a great puzzle for tessellation throughput.
yeah, I guess it's relatively simple
Tessellation
comparatively.
throughput, super secret metric number 3.
And that's
Come
for the
on.
other metrics. I've worked on cost and I've completed Tarkles.
Yeah,
But
if you
yeah,
want.
this is about tessellation
Wait,
throughput.
have you uploaded the cost off? I haven't been
I've
paying
not uploaded
attention.
the cost off. I've worked on it. I've not completed it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so if you want to participate in the friendly competition for tessellation throughput on this puzzle, you can also check out the Discord on what tessellation throughput even is first, I guess. It's a pretty complicated metric. But yeah.
Should we explain on stream next week? No.
Hopefully.
TLDR on stream, the infinite version of the puzzle where there is infinitely many of everything. Make it efficient, go.
You can probably just put in infinite inputs and then instead of the outputs you have like glyphs of evisceration.
Ooh, or like yeah, something except like it checks specifically for the shape maybe.
Just lots of glyphs of visceration. But yeah, thank you all for coming on the stream, and we'll see y'all next week. So, see y'all.